Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm playing some more Legacy, and I am playing the Rakdos Reanimator deck. Reanimator looks a little different now than it did a year ago. No more Entomb, which means it's back to being more of a Rakdos deck, using Faithless Lootings and that sort of thing to get big creatures into the graveyard and reanimate them just like before. Some of the cool new innovations are Raph and Mikey. You reanimate it and then you attack with it and then you get another one of your big monsters. Pretty much seals the game. This is kind of the premier target at this point, unless your opponent is doing something with like a white deck and has Caracas. I think this should go pretty quick. Should be pretty fun. Hopefully I play pretty well, and let's get into the games. I'm on the play here in round one. I have Cabal Therapy myself, discard Atraxa, animate dead Atraxa, turn one. That seems pretty good. I'm going to keep it. So we'll go Swamp into Dark Ritual. Cabal Therapy, target me. Atraxa Grand Unifier. Animate dead, target Atraxa. All right, that all just works. We have next turn, I could do all of the same stuff, but with the Shallow Grave or the Reanimate. So let's take Lotus Petal, Badlands, Reanimate, Raph and Mikey, Shallow Grave. That's pretty good. We can just send it again next turn. Could I send it again now? Oh, I needed to Thoughtseize myself. That's okay. Yeah, I needed to take Thoughtseize over the Reanimate, but oh well. Still feel pretty good. Just noticed my opponent is a Yorion deck, so they might have answers to this. Oh, well, there's the Caracas. All right. Now, if I had set this up properly so that I could send again this turn, I could overwhelm the Caracas, but that's okay. Actually, if they don't Caracas yet, yeah, okay. I'd say I could flashback Cabal Therapy. This is fine. Okay. Well, now I have all of the monsters in my hand. Nowhere to go with them. Since I'm not doing anything else, I'll go ahead and Surveil here. Leave that on top. I guess if I don't play Lotus Petal there, that was a mistake as well. Playing sloppy. If I don't play Lotus Petal there, I can discard. Oh well. Let's pass the turn. If they don't tap out of Caracas, I might just be patient anyway and not send yet. Yeah, there's no point in me sending here. I think my best option here is to go to discard one of the monsters, and then next turn I can Thoughtseize myself, and I should be able to double send and overwhelm the Caracas. So if they have Wasteland, this plan I think still actually does work fine. It'll just hurt a little bit that I didn't play a land this turn, but I think that's ultimately okay. Let's just pass the turn and discard. Opponent fetches in the instep. Scrub land. It's Felia. Yep. Blink Dog is here. That's fine. And I will discard Raph and Mikey. There's also a world where I Shallow Grave in their instep, and then they presumably bounce the Raph and Mikey, but then I'm clear to Thoughtseize Reanimate. That might be something. Here's a Stoneforge, which they will presumably flicker with the Felia after they search. Felia coming in. It is flickering Stoneforge, and Stoneforge is coming back. Do I want to Shallow Grave here? I think I will, honestly. Okay, we'll go to my turn. Drew a Lotus Petal. I don't think that super matters. I will play Badlands. They did not Raph and Caracas yet. How do I want to do this? I might as well just get a Atraxa into play. Yeah, let's do that. There's Grizzlebrand better. I think it's just Atraxa. Reanimate the Atraxa. Okay, this time we have... Ooh, Collective Brutality is very good for sorcery. Take another Badlands. Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal. That'll work for me. I'm going to go ahead and go to combat. I know that Raph and Mikey's going to get bounced, but That's okay. Yep. This was expected. Now I'm gonna Brutality. Don't need this. Cast Brutality. Let's kill Stoneforge. Honestly, I'm just gonna go for all of it. I have 2 things to discard. I'm just gonna do the whole thing. Yeah, kill Stoneforge. Discard Raff and Mikey and Grizzlebrand. I do think I want Raff and Mikey on top for Shallow Grave reasons. Okay, well, they have no instants or sorceries. Okay. I will just play out Lotus Petals and pass the turn. Unfortunately, now they get to bounce the Atraxa, so I need another double send where somehow Caracas is down. Caracas is very hard to play through with this deck unless I find something that isn't a legend. I don't know that. Yeah, I need to find one of the Archons. Okay. My Atraxa gets exiled. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm in a pretty bad spot here. Got Fellia Flicker. Targets nothing. I drew a land. That doesn't help me. I'm good to scoop it up here. Let's go to the sideboard. Okay, so we've got blinkdog.deck. How do I deal with this? Magus of the Moon turns off the Caracas, which is extremely good. And then killing Felias is pretty good. I think I can come off of a couple of the Grizzlebrands, maybe. It is a couple of my monsters, but I still have a nice density of them. Let's try this. There might be more that I wanted for this matchup, but my biggest hurdle is just the constant Caracas. This hand doesn't do anything. I'll mulligan. This one does get Magus into play. It's keepable enough. Keep and bottom one of the basics. Though maybe that should have been UC just because I'm on a Magus plan. That's okay. We'll play the Verdant Catacomb and pass. There's the Caracas. Immediately. Good news is I have an answer for it this time. This is just as good in the graveyard. And we drew one anyway. Okay, let's play Underground. Well, let's Faithless Looting first. Okay, we found an Atraxa to discard. And I guess I can discard this Underground Sea. And then there's no point in reanimating Atraxa yet, so I won't. I will play a Verdant Catacomb, and I will pass the turn. Wasteland on my theater is really unfortunate. Let's go ahead and fetch again. We'll get Badlands this time. Found Unmask, which is not really what we're looking to do at the moment. Yeah, I just don't think I want, even though it does refill my hand, I don't know that I want to replay or reanimate the Atraxa yet without the Magus in play. Is that true? Play basic Swamp. Yeah, I don't think it's time to reanimate until Magus gets here. Let's just pass. Good news, not a Wasteland this time. Okay, let's draw a Mana Source. That's not a Mana Source. Yeah, we simply pass the turn. Opponent fetches in the instep. Shadowy Backstreet. Got another fetch land. Any land that's not Wasteland is fine by me. They fetched a Scrub. Overlord of the Baelmerk. That one's pretty good. Maybe they'll mill over something that I want to reanimate that's not a legend. Not really. They took the Solitude. Yeah, that makes sense. Real unfortunate. Good news, we found land. Go ahead and fetch with that. Grab another basic Swamp and play Magus of the Moon. They do have Solitude, so this was, maybe I should have waited, but it just, either way, I'm kind of in a bad spot between the Caracas and the Solitude. Yep, here comes Solitude. That does mean if I find Archon and get it into the graveyard, that's one less of those to deal with. Here's Flicker Wisp. I was going to flicker the Caracas. Sure, that makes sense. We've got Overlord trigger and Flicker Wisp trigger. Found another reanimate. Does that do anything? Lets me reanimate twice, which I guess is maybe something. Let's think. If I reanimate the Atraxa, I get to fill my hand. They presumably bounce the Atraxa, but maybe I find Archon in all of this. I'm going to go for it. Ooh, Fairy Macabre. Okay. Yeah, that's very good. Okay. All right. Sure. Pass the turn. Really looking for that Archon. Comes Flicker Wisp. All right. I'm not sure what my opponent spent mana on, if I'm being honest. That's fine. Anyway, I drew a Dark Ritual, which doesn't get me anywhere. We'll just pass the turn again. Flicker Wisp coming in again. Arid Mesa. Fetch. Leyline of the Void. Well, maybe I can cast an Archon with enough Dark Rituals. There's Animate Dead. I could Animate Dead Solitude. I can do that after the Overlord comes back. Yeah, once Overlord wakes up, I can kill it with or exile it with Solitude. That's not nothing, I guess. Do I want to kill this Flicker Wisp? I don't need to do that yet. Although it does mean I can stop taking damage. I'll do it. Let's just get this out of here. Now my plan is Animate Dead Solitude. Or Reanimate Solitude, one of the two. Here's another Impended Overlord. That's fine. Another Solitude. Solitude, Lion Sash, Stoneforge Mystic. They've got another Solitude in hand. Okay. Overlord wakes up. Okay, I did find Archon. I need a lot more mana to cast that. Oh, wait. I have a plan. I reanimate Flicker Wisp, blink out the Leyline, unmask myself, discard the Archon, animate dead. That is the plan, right? Flicker Wisp can... Before I do this, let me double check. Another target permanent. Okay, it doesn't have to be my own. So, reanimate target Flicker Wisp, blink out Leyline, cast Unmask, exiling, snuff out, discard this Archon, animate dead, targeting Archon. We do know they have a Solitude, so this is mostly, I guess, not going to do much for me, but it's more than the nothing I have been doing. Oh, and they just have swords. That's even less cool. Okay. I get swords. Animate dead leaves. Is there any reason for me to continue playing this game? They discarded the Solitude. I don't know. Maybe there's a world where somehow something good still happens, but I think this is pretty well over for me. Just keep animating their stuff, I guess. I can have an Overlord now, which is kind of cool. Yorion. Yeah, that's a... Oh, that's what they did with that 3 mana that I lost track of earlier. They put Yorion in their hand. Okay, they're about to have an Overlord come back. Felia is in the yard. It's the only creature that it hit. They grabbed Cloak and Dagger, though. Which makes sense. They can Cloak and Dagger the Flicker Wisp, and then Yorion can flicker the Cloak and Dagger, and they just get it back. I did draw another Animate Dead. I could exile this Overlord. I guess exiling Yorion makes more sense. Get Solitude. Solitude, exile Yorion. Oh, right. Caracas. Yeah, alright. You know what? GG, opponent. I'm just so dead. Alright, let's go to round 2. I'm on the draw here in round 2. I have a slow reanimate. I'll keep this. It's okay. This is turn 2 because of the Surveil land. Oh no, another white deck. Okay. It's just going to be like that today, apparently. I'll play the theater. I don't need a third Dark Ritual. Don't show me Caracas. Okay. Scrubland is not Caracas, notably. Thalia sucks for me. It is what it is. There's a Shallow Grave, which is not useful because of the Thalia. This, keeping a one-lander then getting Thalia is definitely not a thing that I appreciate. I cannot cast anything in my hand, so I suppose I go to discard and discard the Atraxa. Stoneforge Mystic. They grabbed a Meteor Sword. There's another Hewarian deck as well. This is probably darn near the same deck that we just played against, which is really unfortunate. Okay. Come on, deck. And now they're going to blow up my one land. And I'm going to concede the game. Yeah. All right. Cool. Soloed by Thalia. Love that. Okay. What do I think I want to do here? There's probably another Magus of the Moon game. And another Collective Brutality. Do I want to show and tell? Maybe a little bit, just because they're probably going to bring in some amount of graveyard hate because they saw that I am obviously Reanimator. I got a couple Shallow Graves and then a couple of the redundant legends. Does that make sense? Or maybe instead of the redundant legends, it's a couple of like the hand hate things, since mostly those go at myself. Maybe a couple Unmasks. Well, they can be free though. A couple of Cabal Therapies. Yeah, let's try this. I don't know how I totally feel about show and telling against this deck, but maybe it's fine. We're just trying stuff. Okay, this one is a little... This one's not as devastated by Thalia, but it doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to mulligan. Okay, here's Thoughtseize, Reanimate, enough lands to at least play the game if Thalia comes into play. I'll keep that. I'm going to bottom one of the... Is it one of the Grizzlebrands? Actually, maybe it's Thoughtseize because I can discard both Grizzlebrands to this Faithless Looting. I'm going to try that. So I will Badlands into Faithless Looting. Discard Grizzlebrand, and pass the turn. Now we have a second Reanimate too, which is really nice. They've got a Scrubland into a Thoughtseize. Good news, I have 2 Reanimates. They took one of the Reanimates, obviously. Now I also have a Show and Tell, which is neat. Let's reanimate one of these Grizzlebrands. No. Okay. Gee, these D&T decks are just tearing me apart. This is brutal. All right, well now we're looking to draw a monster, I guess. Drawing Raph and Mikey and them not having anything somehow would be amazing. Let's get Undercity Sewers. I don't... Well, actually... Do I want a Thoughtseize to check their hand first? I will keep a Thoughtseize, and I'll just play a little slower. I'll play my land and pass. Because if I can get to 4 mana before I draw a monster, I can Thoughtseize first to make sure I'm not going to get totally cooked. Because this is obviously a deck that can be on like Containment Priest or anything like that. They're going to fetch in the instep. And here's Ophelia. Unsurprising. There's Overlord. Milled over, Thalia, Fairy Macabre, Witch Enchanter. They put the Fairy Macabre in hand. Good news, that's not my plan anymore. Thalia is going to wake up the Overlord immediately. That does suck pretty bad. This deck is so good against what I'm doing. There's Aether Vial. And Overlord's back. Milled over, another Surgical. Glad that's gone. They picked up the Thalia with that one. I forgot to fetch. That's okay. Drew a Dark Ritual, so I just need to find a monster. I'll fetch Surveil next turn, or at the end of their turn, and hope there's a monster on top, and then I can Dark Rit, Thoughtseize, Show and Tell. Here's a Stoneforge Mystic. That's probably going to get something devastating for me. Lion Sash. Okay, the graveyard is so covered. That's fine. I've already given up on the graveyard idea. Blinking the Stoneforge. There's the Containment Priest that I'm worried about. That's what they put in their hand. Makes sense. Failure will bring back Stoneforge. This time he'll probably get something like Meteor Sword. Yep. Alright, let's fetch, see if we can do anything this game. Faithless Looting's not it. Reanimate's also not it. Is there anything good? I mean, I could attempt to Witch Enchanter their Overlord, and then I just die to the Felia. Yeah, I think I'm dead. I don't think there's anything I can realistically do here. Yep. Alright, GG opponent. That kills me for sure. Okay, let's go to round 3 and maybe find not D&T. I'm on the draw in round 3. This hand rips if I draw either a Reanimate or another mana source. I'll keep it and try it. Okay, Polluted Delta is not basic plains. Thank goodness. Good news, we found a second mana. Let's just go ahead and rip off this Faithless Looting. Does that make sense? Yeah. I could do this all at once. Give them no opportunity to do anything because I could. Oh, I don't have another. I guess Atraxa is a black card. I could unmask, discard Raph and Mikey, animate dead all at once next turn. I think that's actually the better play, and that also can insulate against Wasteland because I can just hold up this Polluted Delta. That seems smarter. So it's got Underground Sea. They're just passing. Okay, so here I'm going to get Surveil Land, a Lotus Petal. That lets me do this off of a Faithless Looting instead of an Unmask. I think I'm pretty okay with that. That does mean I could theoretically even unmask them first. Or I can Faithless Looting first and then unmask. See if I find a different black card to exile. Okay, we found Archon. Let's discard. I'll discard Raph and Mikey, Atraxa, and exile the... No. I mean, I don't think this is a Caracas deck. So yeah, we'll exile the Archon to the Unmask. That seems fine. Discard these two. We'll put Raph and Mikey on top. Unmask you. Exile my Archon. Essentially just looking for Force of Wills or something of that nature. Oh, okay. Well, they have multiple Force of Wills. What's this? Why is this in your main deck? What the heck? Okay. Well, as much as I want to take the forces, Bilbo can just cast this if I discard it. Holy crap. Why? Why is this here? Okay. I guess we take one of the Force of Wills. This sucks. Do I just make them use it? And then they have to get rid of one of the other blue cards? I think I'm going to, honestly. Let's just make them use it. I'll target the Raph and Mikey. They fetch in response. Grab the Surveil Land. Yeah, and here's the Force exiling the flow state. Yep. So their hand is Bilbo and Strategic Betrayal. Yep, here's the Strategic Betrayal. So goodbye, Raph and Mikey and Atraxa. That's really unfortunate. Now I have a Thoughtseize. Let's get that Bilbo out of the hand, I guess. I don't think it makes sense to Faithless Loot here. I don't want to just dump 2 blind cards into the graveyard. Nope, I meant to fetch Surveil Land. That's okay, I wasn't doing anything anyway. Here's a flow state. It'll be a 2-card flow state. Fetching with their Polluted Delta. And they've got a Bilbo. Alright, so this is the new card. Hot new tech. Spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand cost 1 less, and then when Bilbo attacks, you can cast artifacts, instants, or sorceries from your graveyard, and if it's an instant or sorcery, it will exile. So, real exciting card for Legacy if you haven't seen that one yet. Let's do some fetching here. Okay, here's a Grizzlebrand. We'll put that. They're just going to be able to recast the Strategic Betrayal. Okay, I'm going to put it in the graveyard anyway. Maybe I will get lucky here and draw something useful. Second Faithless Looting, not what I would consider something useful. I'll cast one of them. That wasn't helpful. Discard the Faithless Looting and the Swamp, the Unmask. I'll discard the Swamp. And now it would cost all of my mana to cast a Faithless Looting. So unless I hit exactly, well, no matter what I hit, I can't do anything. So I think I just pass here. I'd probably lose this Grizzlebrand to Strategic Betrayal, but maybe they won't fire that off yet since there's only one thing there. They are going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so at least one of those is gone now. Let's see what we can find. Well, unfortunately, there's the Reanimate. I could get my own Bilbo. Is that any good? Get my own Bilbo. Future me can recast Reanimate from the graveyard. I don't think that's anything. I don't know what my plan is at this point, but I don't think it's Reanimate Bilbo. Initial thoughts on this card. It's really messed up that Thoughtseizing just like didn't mean anything, which part of that was because they had double force, but like taking Bilbo just wasn't helpful, but taking any of the other cards that they had, Bilbo just gets to do it anyway. They cast a Flow State. Bilbo coming in. Gonna recast Flow State. Yeah, I can't imagine I ever can win this game at this point. They've drawn so many cards. There's a Wasteland, sure. Lotus Petal doesn't do anything. It's also not... Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna scoop that up, go to the sideboard. I don't think there's a world where I come back from that. Okay, this is a game where I actually want this Caracas. Weirdly enough. Not a Stronghold Gambit match. Could be Show and Tell. I mean, they had main deck Graveyard Hate. I think I'm pretty okay with a Show and Tell coming in. Magus of the Moon? Do I want my own Fairy Macabres? I don't think so. Okay, let's cut a Lotus Petal for Caracas. And then for this other stuff, cut a couple of shallow graves for Show and Tells. And cut one Cabal Therapy for Magus. Let's do it. Okay, here we have turn 2 monster, probably, hopefully. I'll keep. Oh, okay. My opponent concedes. Interesting. Wonder if they accidentally clicked keep when they needed to click mulligan. I'm not sure. Here I need a monster to make this hand go anywhere. There's also no lands. I don't know why I'm even looking at this hand. I've got the Caracas. I've got Brutality and Shallow Grave. This seems kind of okay. I'll put back a Lotus Petal. Opponent's got Polluted Delta, fetched Underground Sea, and a Thoughtseize. Well, that sucks. Presumably they take the Shallow Grave. Collective Brutality. Okay, sure. The way for me to get the thing into the graveyard. That works too. Bad news for them is I did just draw a Thoughtseize. Let's play... Do I Thoughtseize myself just to protect against getting Thoughtseized again? I'm going to play this Caracas, and I'll just pass the turn. Really? Another one? That sucks. Okay. Here I, again, lose probably one of these two cards. Yep, Thoughtseize. Here's a Tamiyo. I'll just go ahead and put that back in your hand for now. Okay, we found Archon of Cruelty. I'll play my Underground Sea and my Lotus Petal. You can't Thoughtseize me forever. Someday I'll get to do something. Just pass the turn. Hope there's not a third Thoughtseize and that I draw some way to get one of these monsters out of my hand. Here's Bilbo. This is what the Caracas is for. Opponent fetches. And Tamiyo's back. Sure. I think right now I'm more concerned about the Bilbo recasting all of these Thoughtseizes. I mean, if I draw nothing, I can also bounce Tamiyo. Okay, we have action here. So I think the plan is to attempt to Faithless Loot, discard Atraxa and Archon of Cruelty. I think I want the Archon this turn because it just kills the Tamiyo. So we'll get Archon. And then we will cast Shallow Grave. Archon comes in. Tamiyo dies. They discard the Bilbo. And I draw land. I'll play the land and go to combat. They'll discard another one of their cards, and I drew Dark Ritual. Nice. Okay, opponent is at 2. That's pretty good for me. Doesn't take much to get through 2, hopefully. Yeah, here's the Strategic Betrayal, but this time it's not nearly as devastating because I have 2 more Sins in my hand once I find a way to get them into the yard. Magus of the Moon doesn't put them in the graveyard, but it does... Ooh, okay. This is maybe a little aggressive, but I'm going to bounce the Tamiyo, and then I will Dark Ritual out Magus of the Moon. All we've got's mountains now. But you don't have any red cards. Yeah, alright, cool. That works. I don't know what happened in game 2 when they just like conceded on the spot, but we did the thing. We finally got a win on the board. Let's go to round 4. I'm on the play here in round 4. We've got a hand that... Wait, does this work? Lotus Petal, Thoughtseize myself, Reanimate Atraxa. It's super risky, but I'm going to keep it. It seems... Maybe it works out. If Atraxa finds any lands, I'm at least not completely cooked. Lotus Petal, sack for black, cast a Dark Ritual. Obviously, if they're a Force of Will deck, this is completely toast. And I will likely shame concede. Yeah, sick. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know. We'll see if I draw a land. We've got Underground Sea, their own Thoughtseize. Yeah, that's fine. You're going to take my Reanimate, and I'm going to be sad. Draw a land? Yeah, okay. We're totally fine. We'll just play the land and pass the turn. Opponent's got Scalding Tarn, Tamiyo, and nothing else. I'll go get Raucous Theater. Nope, opponent's also fetching. If they stifle me, holy cow. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, cool. Okay. Well, do I draw a land? No. All right. Yep. Cool. Yep. Show and tell seems decent. Just because having a little bit of a pivot seems good. All they've shown me is Tamiyo. I don't know that I'll bring in the Caracas just because they're probably doing Bilbo things. It's the hot new thing. And I could bring in Magus, but they obviously have basics because they just showed me one. I'm just going to do a tiny little sideboard here. We'll just try that. This hand is a lot less greedy. It's still really bad if they... Actually, no, this one's totally fine. A Thoughtseize is totally fine here. I mean, Wasteland ruins my life, but we'll keep this and try it. Sewers, for the sake of not getting completely obliterated, we will in fact keep a land on top. And I'm going to go ahead and put this Lotus Petal into play too. And then I'll pass the turn. Okay, they have a land up. That's a little scary. I'll play my Polluted Delta. How do I want to go about this? If I fetch and they have Stifle, I'm screwed. I'm going to be a little patient here, and I'm just going to pass the turn. And then I can fetch once they have cracked their fetch land. And if I Thoughtseize them, I could Thoughtseize them just to see what's going on over there. That does stop me from being able to Thoughtseize myself, and I'm just on the show and tell plan. Maybe that's okay. Yeah, let's see what's going on over there. This is Bilbo Stifle Knot. Interesting. They do have a Force. Lots of blue cards. The Hydro I'm less worried about. They don't have a Stifle right now for this Dreadnought. I think I'm just going to take one of the Forces. Take a Force and hope for the best. Oh, dang it. I meant to fetch when they fetched. No. Okay. I'm going to fetch now. I'll get Raucous Theater just so I can also surveil. Yeah, leave that on top. That's insulation against a Thoughtseize if they draw that. They kept the card on top from their surveil. Basic Island and a Tamiyo. Okay, so that's what they drew. That's fine. Which means we know their whole hand and we know when it enters sacrifice. Okay, so yeah, I think that means we're just gonna send the show and tell. Sure, they can brainstorm. Maybe they find something and I become sad. Yeah, Tamiyo can flip. I am gonna put, assuming this resolves, I'm putting the Archon into play. Yeah, okay. Archon's gonna go into play, which will kill the Tamiyo or the Bilbo, I guess, because they did have a creature in hand. Okay, they got rid of the Tamiyo and discarded the Hydroblast. I drew a Faithless Looting, which is pretty sweet. Now we're just looking for another land or something for next turn, and I can get Atraxa into play as well. Another Brainstorm. Flooded Strand. We didn't know about that one. They're going to fetch to shuffle their Brainstorm. There's an Underground Sea and a Ponder. I imagine I don't really have any idea what's in their hand anymore, would be my guess. And another Brainstorm. Wow. Brainstorm, Ponder, Brainstorm. They are digging. And they concede. Okay. Back to the sideboard. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to go back in. Unmask. Raph and Mikey, reanimate it. Keep this hand. Obviously, Thoughtseize is not great for me, but that's pretty much always true. So let's just play like they don't have it. Good news is that Basic Island does not cast a Thoughtseize. Bad news is that it does cast Stifle, which is bad for pretty much all parts of my plan here. I definitely don't want to get got by Stifle immediately, as much as I want to just send this. So I'm going to pass the turn and hope that at some point I can fetch it a little more safely. Opponent's got their own fetch land and a Ponder. That's fine. Yeah, we'll go to my turn. Another reanimate. That's sweet. I'll play the second land, and now I can actually fetch because now a Stifle would not be devastating. Okay, we're just fine. Let's just get a basic swamp here. And I'm going to unmask, exiling one of the Atraxas. Opponent's got to fetch in response. They grabbed Underground Sea, brainstorming in response. Hopefully they don't find it. Whatever it is, hopefully they don't find it. Okay, that worked. I'm going to discard Raph and Mikey. And then I'm going to reanimate Raph and Mikey. Sweet, that worked. Go to combat. Attack with Raph and Mikey. We get a trigger. It's Atraxa. I'm going to put Thoughtseize, Shallow Grave, Badlands, Grizzlebrand, Lotus Petal, and they concede. Awesome. Well, there we go. We got to see the Raph and Mikey tech. If this thing gets into combat, it's just about GG every time. So, GG's opponent. Let's go to the final round. I'm on the play here in the final round. Hand that has Faithless Looting and some monsters in it. No way to reanimate them. I think I'm going to mulligan. Here we have a Faithless Looting and an Animate Dead and a monster. This looks a lot better. I will keep this, and I could bottom the Undercity Sewers and then just fetch it, or I could just play it. I don't know that it matters a ton other than life total being a thing. I'll just bottom let's bottom the Sewers. We'll just keep less lands in the deck. Lotus Petal, Polluted Delta. I can do all of this at once, so I will, and I will just pass the turn. Opponent's got Mox Diamond and Ancient Tomb. Okay. And a City of Traders is probably initiative. Chalice on 1. Well, that's pretty bad for my plan that I had, but it's not completely, it's not a thing I can't play around, so it is what it is. Let's go ahead and fetch here. I'll get the Raucous Theater, even though I can't cast this Faithless Looting right now. Now we're totally fine anyway. We'll put Atraxa into the graveyard. We love free Entomb. Can't cast the Reanimate, but I can cast the Animate Dead. Animate Dead on Atraxa. Opponent concedes. All right, to the sideboard. So this is likely initiative. Not really sure what the best play against that is. A Braid could be pretty good. They do have artifacts, obviously. I'll swap in a Braid out or in for a Shallow Grave because they will likely have creatures. Just not sure what else to do. I'm sure there are other cards there that are good, but this is... Okay, so it's another one of these hands that doesn't have a land in it. But they're not a Force of Will deck, at least as far as we know. So Dark Ritual, Cabal Therapy, Animate Dead, or Shallow Grave, and like this should work. I'm a game up. I'm gonna be risky. That's bad. Okay. Once upon a time. And this is not a trigger. I can't like respond to it with a Shallow Grave, unfortunately. There's a Mox Diamond. City of Traders. Opponent has more mana than God. Holy cow. Lotus Petal. Chalice on 1. Yeah, this one's going to be a bit of an uphill battle. Cast my Lotus Petal. Pass the turn. I have a bunch of cards in my hand that cost 1, so that's not ideal. They've got another Lotus Petal. Archon of Emeria. Yeah, that's also pretty rough for me. I found a Braid, so I just need to find ways to cast that. It only kills the artifacts, though, which is not super useful. I'm going to discard Cabal Therapy. Archon hits me. Draw a Reanimate. I'm going to discard Thoughtseize. Archon hits me again. Opponent's just not doing anything but hitting me with Archons. All right, here's another Lotus Petal. So I can kill the Chalice now. And then I just won't have any mana. And what does killing the Chalice even do for me? Yeah, you know what? I'm good to go to the sideboard on this one. Okay, so they do have Leyline, which is not surprising. Yeah, I just don't... I guess there's a world where I can, like, Thoughtseize them, Stronghold Gambit, but I know that this card is good in this deck. I'm just not sure when the right time to actually use it is, and I'm guessing it's against just, like, creatureless control decks for the most part. But maybe you're just supposed to beat up on their hand and then do it? I'm not sure. They do have Leyline, so I will bring in Show and Tells, and I will cut a Shallow Grave and a Reanimate. They do like to Chalice on 1 a lot. Another Brutality could be good, and another Snuff Out could also be good, since they are going to be a creature deck. I need 2 more cuts then. Let's just do... I'm going to do a couple of the Cabal Therapies. Let's try that. Okay, this is turn 1 Grizzlebrand, unless they have a Leyline, in which case it's play to Show and Tell Grizzlebrand. I'll keep it. They had Leyline and Chancellor of the Annex. Why? Come on. Okay. Polluted Delta, and then I'm going to fetch. I don't really want to send anything into the void here. I shouldn't have fetched yet. That was a mistake. Let's just grab this Underground Sea. I could unmask just to pay the troll toll. No, not yet. There's a Lotus Petal. Chrome Mox. The Chancellor's under it. Yeah, makes sense. And we've already got Under Mountain Adventurer. Gross. Opponent takes the initiative. We found an Archon, which is quite good once I can cast it. Unfortunately, we didn't find any more mana. I do think I could... Okay, now I could unmask and actually pay for the troll. Let's unmask them. I'll exile this Reanimate that's not doing me any good. And I will pay the 1. Okay, well, they basically don't have anything, which is good since my plan now is draw a second land, cast Show and Tell. Going into the Lost Well to scry 2. They've got a Lotus Petal. I get punched and they pass the turn. Unfortunately, Shallow Grave is not mana. So we're passing again. They're making a treasure. I'll get hit for 3 again. Go to my turn. Please draw land. Lotus Petal counts. That's good enough. Okay. Dark Ritual, Show and Tell, and we put the Archon into play to kill the Undermountain Adventurer. They've got Cavernous Souls. That's fine. Okay, I have a couple of useless cards in my hand, but now I have an Archon, which is way better than how things had been going. They get to go into the Catacombs and make a 4/1 skeleton, which will die when Archon attacks. Hopefully they didn't draw anything useful. All I drew was a Lotus Petal. Awesome. They conceded. Awesome. All right, so it's been a minute, but we finally got a winning record with Rakdos Reanimator. This deck does exactly what it's supposed to do. It reanimates and, you know, your opponent dies hopefully very quickly. Rapid Mikey is awesome. This is a super cool addition to the deck. I still don't really know about Stronghold Gambit. If I played this more, I'd have to learn when those are actually supposed to come in. And I mean, sideboarding in general, I'm sure I didn't quite do correctly. I'm just not sure what comes out when you start bringing in like the show and tells and stuff. But overall, it was a really fun league. Got to see Death and Taxes a couple times, which is a cool deck that I really like. So that was fun, even though it kicked my butt. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. So I'm going to leave this here. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I haven't talked about it before, but there is a Patreon if you want to, you know, support the channel in any way. There's not really anything there, but it's there if people want to support it. And that's all for me. So I'll see you next time.